Beautiful day out here in Colorado. You see that sky? Looks like it's gonna rain here soon. Just going on a stroll right now. And the stroll is supposed to be a run. Or sorry, it's supposed to be just a stroll. And then I ended up running. And then kept running. And then just kept running and kept going. And before you know it, I just couldn't stop. It just felt so good. Really got the lungs opened up. Whew. The lungs are open. Sucking in that good ether, good energy all around us. Look at all that greenery. You know what's wild? Because when I was a child, I didn't enjoy this. But now that I'm older, now that I'm wiser, it makes me feel like I just want to be more than just a survivor. See, I ride and I drive. And boy, that drive, it does more than keep me alive. And I wanted to share with you your point of view and mine too. What does success and how do you measure it between me and you? Or you and me and me? Because the only thing that matters that we can see is our future self, our better self, our higher version. We're working hard and I know that it's worth working to get there. What's up, everybody? If you don't know by now, my name is Maj. I started this YouTube out of, as a freshman in high school, actually, just bullshitting, not knowing what I'm doing. I was like, yeah, I'll set up a YouTube. Let's see what's to it. Never thought I'd actually be active in this. But now here I am, sharing my journey with y'all of how I'm conquering life, going through the trials that I'm going through, sharing the ups and the downs with you guys, and ultimately just being transparent as to how things are going. You know, now I'm at the point in my life where I'm working my cleaning businesses. I'm doing it as a silent partner, if you will, sometimes on, sometimes off, for our power washing business, and full-time for a carpet cleaning business. The power washing we've been doing for about 7 years, and then the carpet cleaning about 5. And it got me to the point, I don't know if you guys are familiar or not with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad is what helped me stumble into that shift from employee mindset to self-employed mindset, then to business, and then to investor. I'm slowly but surely getting myself and ourselves to that point of business owners and investors. And last year is where I took that leap of faith in 2021 December, joined a mentorship after in October. Let me back up a little bit. So let me back up even further because it's all unwinding in my head as to how this thing happened. And it's all just hitting me right now like a wave before I forgot how this even happened. So it was in 2021 in July. I get a text message while I'm just watching TV. We moved into a new place, mind you, in May, right? And this new place that we moved in May of 2021 was going to be our place where we were going to do another Airbnb arbitrage, but get permission from the landlord. The house before that, we got permission from the landlord. We were doing Airbnb arbitrage, and that was we started that in 2019 of November. Did it all the way to July 7th of 2021, and everything was great. We were arbitraging it, living on the property. Started with 1 room, scaled it to 2, scaled it to 2.5, to the whole place, which then was 3 bedrooms. And it was amazing. A lot of positive feedback from our guests, and we experienced, a whole level of fulfillment of not just making money, but also making ends meet, of course, but also expanding and being more expansive in our mindset. I noticed that when we were at that stage, a lot of ideas really came natural to us, in the sense of we had money in the bank and we were looking at things at the store and thinking about the next opportunity. It just flowed naturally, just flowed. It wasn't, there was no doubts of like, oh, you know, I don't know if I can afford that or not. Oh, I don't know if this is something that they would enjoy. It was more of like an instant. I already saw it working out and I saw the flaw in a thing if it wasn't working out. So that was a complete shift from, you know, trading our time for money to then making some money passively. Of course, at the beginning, we did bootstrap it. We were doing the cleanings, we were doing the turnovers, all of those type of things. But then we got to the point where we hired some cleaners and it was completely hands off. So that time in May of 2021, we moved into a new house. We were gonna arbitrage it again, get the permission of the landlord, and they said no. Or no, that was wrong. Let me back up. So we didn't even pitch it to the landlord because we knew that they didn't want anything like an Airbnb. We could have told them something like a midterm rental and let them know that we are in the real estate space and we are professionals, because at that time, you know, I wasn't even confident in that thought or idea of doing this full time. But now, looking back at it, that's something that I should have done. But we had roommates, you know, my girl's sister and her boyfriend didn't want to live with strangers, essentially. They didn't want to experience having somebody else in the house while they're there. And that really made me realize that there's sacrifices in everything that we do. There's sacrifices if we aspire to get from one place to another. If I wanted to go from here where I'm sitting on this rock to all the way over there, I have to get my fat ass up and I have to walk all the way over there. You know what I'm saying? That might cause me, I might be in discomfort, but I'm gonna have to sacrifice my comfort to get up and walk over there. My point being is that I was able to, and my girl was also able to sacrifice her comfort. And, you know, that was something that stood out to me, you know, from the beginning, that this woman's different. I have a real one by my side, 100%. And she trusts me in everything that I do, and I trust her. And, you know, now that I'm able to, you know, share this with you guys, it's kind of crazy because I never actually said that out loud, but it's, you know, voiced all of this out loud. It's amazing, like all of these thoughts, I actually forgot them when I closed down the Airbnb, when I started the Airbnb, when we moved into another place, because I just wanted to shut it all out. I wanted to shut it out of my mind completely. And now that I'm at peace in comparing life at the end result, looking back, it's a deeper level of thinking that I'm just grateful that I'm here in this mind space, because it's easy for me just to get caught up in the mundane. And once the mundane things happen, I get all up in my brain. I don't mean to make these words all sound the same. But what happened, I'm gonna get back on the topic, I was on a tangent. I'm gonna get back on the topic of when we moved into that place, you know, they didn't want to do Airbnb, the roommates didn't. So I was just like, okay, fine. I'm comfortable, I'm content with this Airbnb that we're arbitraging, we're making money. We only made, so we moved out of that Airbnb in May. So May, June, July, about 2.5 months, we were able to make $21,000, I believe. 21,000 or 14,000 is one of those, I just know it's increments in 7. That was revenue, all right? So we made that revenue, and that was from the whole place. Right in July, bringing the story full back, I get a text message, or sorry, an email. I remember it was from the forwarded from the landlords, who are now starting to be kind of distant. They used to be very active landlords and communicating with me, and they were managing their own property, and that was cool. And I told them, like, hey, I'll be the property management for this. I'll do the property management for this property. If there's anything that comes up that's, you know, less than $300, I'll handle it. I've been handling the cleaning since I have a professional cleaning company, so I'll handle all this. Anyways, they get to the point now where they want to get a property manager because there's some issues with the foundation. I think a main almost blew on that property, which would have sucked for them. That would have been $10,000. And now that I'm playing this out in my head, I was like, wow, that property probably would have been a headache. Would it have been worth it? Yeah, sure. Why not? Appreciate a market. And I would love a property out here in Boulder. But anyways, yeah, I get that email saying that we need to take down this Airbnb. This isn't a legal Airbnb essentially. And they showed all the pictures of everything, and I was just scrolling. I was like, fuck, my heart dropped. Like, it sank a little bit to my lower part of my chest, like right above the solar plexus a little bit. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I just was silent, got in my head, started thinking, well, shit, the fuck am I gonna do now? And from that point on, I was like, all right, well, maybe I should just do a midterm. Maybe I'll just do a midterm rental and just rent that out. And another part about it all is like, I got a fuck ton of space in the basement. The roommates aren't thinking about, they don't want me to rent it out. I'll just put all the stuff down there. So at this point in my life, I believe was when I experienced defeat consciously of, the level of wisdom and things being a grown man now, I think is when I experienced defeat and I allowed that thing to defeat me each day that passed. Because I took that stuff, all the Airbnb furniture, loaded it in my truck, put it on the trailer, and took it to the house and then just unloaded it, and part of me, as I was unloading that truck, it felt like I was tucking my tail and hiding. It was disgusting. And I didn't want to feel that again. The feeling of being like, ah, shit, it feels like you're really just beaten up and you're going back to the corner licking your wounds. When you get to the point, for myself, I'm speaking to myself when I say you, when you get to the point of realizing that, all right, you're done. You've been licking your wounds so much that they don't have time to heal. You have to let that shit air dry. You just have to let it be. You have to let it be and you have to move on. And I experienced that probably about a month after, because in July, all that shit happened. Had to move it out in August. Got all my shit out within like a week, I believe it was. And coming in September, I was over here applying for homes traditionally to get a property out in Longmont. And with this property, it was about $390K is what the offer came out to be. They were asking for $400K, and I was looking to get a FHA loan. So I had money just sitting in crypto. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take some of this money out of crypto, and then I'm gonna pay off some of my personal debts to increase my DTI. And my DTI was sitting about 52%, and for those that don't know, it's debt to income ratio, 52%. And from that point being, I realized that there's so much to do with just like wanting to get this property. Like, I really went to the point where I was thinking resourceful, thinking about people that cared about me, and trying to make it make sense to them as to why this investment would make sense for us collectively, like why it's good for them for the betterment of the future. And when explaining this to people, because what it came down to ultimately, like my DTI is way too high, 52 is like that shit. Ideally they wanted it at, I think it was like 48 or 49% for FHA loan. So even with that FHA loan, that's like, I think it was 3.5% down. And one of my buddies, and started off as a business partner, now a good buddy, lent me about $18,000 to put towards his home. And I had to let it season a little bit. I had to write a personal letter from the FHA guidelines at that time. And, I had to show them that it was coming from them. They wanted his statements. They wanted my statements. And there's a whole reason why I don't like doing traditional financing. I love creative financing for this reason, because you don't have to get probed by a bank. It's one of the most annoying things that I ever have dealt with. And I think that's part of the reason why I love entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, anything outside of being an employee and doing things the traditional route. That's why I love it. It requires a lot more higher thought than just drifting upon your life. But hey, I think I love it. That's my life. That's what I want to do. But anyways, yeah, where was I? So I get to the point where, yeah, I stack that money away, and now I'm at a low point in my life, and I figured out that there's only so much. I think the storm's coming in. If it starts dumping, I'm still gonna film the live. I'm gonna film y'all watching me go to the car. But anyways, there was a point where I was just really low, and I thought to myself, yeah, it's time to get up. Let me apply for this. Oh yeah, FHA. So I get the FHA loan. Have a realtor that I found on Realtor.com. His name is Tom, Thom. I haven't talked to that dude in a minute, and I tried to get him onto Creative Finance, but I didn't know shit for shit when I was trying to pitch it to him. So we'll revisit that conversation for sure. But yeah, he's just like, yeah, man, I don't think you should have your truck. I use my truck for work, so I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Maybe I'll get a cheaper truck or inexpensive truck. So I was like, all right, yeah, let me do that. But no, I love my Tacoma. But yeah, he's like, maybe you should get rid of your truck, let's try a different house. And we were trying for it. But during this time, this was October of 21. September of 21. That contract falls out. I put the EMD down of about $5,000. Fortunately, he put a addendum in the agreement that, if there was any issues that came up with the inspection, that I'd be able to get my EMD back. So something did come up with the electrical. So I actually paid for that electrical. So it was $700, $800 out of pocket for the electrical. Few other things like with the radon test and all that type of stuff was another $500. And I also was under contract for a house in Puerto Rico later that same year. Before I go on to that though, I'll just keep talking about this topic. So yeah, so that one fell through. I ended up getting my EMD back. So at that point where I got my EMD back, I was like, all right, I want to put this money towards something. At least I paid off some debts of mine, boosted my credit score, and now I can put this money into something else. But I don't want to put it into a property that I cannot qualify for. And it took about 2 to 3 months of this traditional finance process to not work. Mind you, it was the educational piece about it, and I couldn't share this with you guys if that didn't happen to me. So this is the whole reason why I don't like traditional financing. It's the whole reason why I don't want to be an employee or aspire to ever go back to being an employee in my life. I would rather clean up shit as a janitor or have my own business cleaning up shit than to work for somebody and have them tell me what to do, where to be, and what I should wear and what I should not say and how I should act. And that's just me, so I don't want to be that guy. So that's why I just love the whole thought of creative finance. And I invested in October after this thing happened into a mentorship because at that time I was like, all right, this happened to me, that happened to me, this happened to me. I moved into another property where we're supposed to run the plan of doing an Airbnb. And then the next property we moved in, it was supposed to be an Airbnb, but I did it all slow. It's either I didn't do it when the time was right, meaning I didn't listen to the signs of how I felt and listen to my body and heart and gut and tell me what decision I should make. I shut that down. I shut that down completely and just went with the expectations of others. And that was something that I learned from this whole thing is, making a decision that's not based off of others, but base it upon yourself and your own thoughts and your belief and your faith is what you can do. Write it down. Of course, you can share your ideas with others, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you. Do you trust you? Especially if you're a man and you're the man of the household, do you trust you? All right, so when that happened, I joined a mentorship knowing that I should seek guidance in real estate. It's something new to me. All I did was Airbnb arbitrage because I knew I wanted to get into real estate, and I wanted to get in for a low cost and just have passive income. Passive income was the main goal when making that move, and it was a really, really intelligent goal. I really suggest that y'all try that. Get all these notifications. I really suggest that you try that out and see if you like it for yourself. I loved it just because of the aspect of putting about less than $10,000 into it, and I already recouped that within about 6 to 8 months. Definitely within the first year we were in the green. So I'd have to look at the books, and I was in 2020 just off of 1 bedroom. All right. So when that happened, I got into this mentorship in October 2021, and when I was there, what I saw was all these people that are in real estate dressing all nice, flashy, nice dress, nice blouse, nice pants, nice dress shirt, nice coat, watch to show, all the flashy things, nice shining shoes that match the belt buckle, button up, all the things that you think that anybody would think that thinks about real estate is, oh, this person has money, they must do really well. But it's all a front. It's all a front. If someone is dressed up more and their words dictate differently, it allows you to judge how they dress differently, meaning that they're not looking the part, and they're looking the part, but they're not sounding the part. They're not feeling the part. They're not it. If they're not doing that, then I shouldn't have done it. But for me, I was ignorant to the fact. And everything that they were talking about was good. I've heard about all of it because I learned it from YouTube. Wholesaling, fix and flip, buying a hold, 1% rule, those type of things. And at the end of it, this is a 1-day seminar. And this is how they get you. They hit you with the 1 day. And it's like, oh, if you like this day, that's free. Just pay for the next one. It's only they'll make it less than $100 or something. At least it pays for their inconvenience. So they make it about less than $100, and you get there on the second day. And the second day, they lay it on you with basically all the information that you can take and run away with it and use it for your leisure. But for me, I'm looking to reduce that learning curve. When I get mentorships and when I seek guidance, I'm reducing the learning curve. That's what I like to do. So when I invested in this mentorship, that's what I expected. So when October came around, we invested in it, and a week later, we were actually going to go to Mexico. So we went to Mexico. The same day, I was jumping on the Zooms as much as I could, and we had homework to find an agent that would look for a fix and flip for us. And we were doing the 70% rule when looking for a fix and flip, minus cost, minus repairs, and minus a wholesale fee to get our deal. Man, it was a journey. So we found one agent that we still are pretty cool with, pretty cool guy out in San Antonio. That was our first market. And just based it off of doing some searching and analyzing of data. And once I found out, that's another thing too, is when they gave me this program, I think it was about 6 months or so. It wasn't anything too heavy. How's it going? It wasn't anything too heavy. So when we joined this course, it was, let me break down the price. All right, the price was $35,000. And then how when they do the $35,000, they'll hike it up and then they'll slash it. They're like, but for today, you don't get to pay $35,000. You get to pay $25,000 or $27,000, whatever it was. I forget the price. I was like, oh shit, man, I ain't got no $37,000. I mean, I do, sitting in crypto right now, and I was gonna use that for a house, but now this house thing isn't really going to play because I don't know if I touched bases on that one, but the house in Longmont that I wanted to get ended up falling through because financing. My bank, yeah, I did say this, my bank at the time went through 2 lenders. The first lender fell through. She said she'd be able to get me a deal, and she's like, oh yeah, your debt to income ratio is too high. You'd have to pay off $50,000 of your student loan debt. So that's where I was like, oh, okay, I got to pay off $50,000 to get into this property. So I said, nope, I'm not doing that. So what I did after I found out about that, took my money out of the bank, and I love when the bank says this, your money has to be seasoned. It has to sit there in an account and just do nothing for 60 days, 90 days, or whatever, however many days. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna take this money and I'm gonna put it into my education. Because if I can't put it into an asset that's a property, I'm gonna put it into an asset that's myself and my brain and invest it and put it into action. So that was the plan after that happened. Now, 2022, 2023 is the result of putting in that investment into the education. So when I bought that real estate program, it was about $27,000 that I dropped on this real estate program called Tax Lien Wealth Builders. If you hear about them, they're shit. Just being straight up. It's raining right now. So they charged me that amount, and I was going through the whole thing. The guy that pitched the whole thing, the guy that pitched Tax Lien Wealth Builders wasn't even the mentor, bro. He was not the one leading it. So I called them. There's about 3 or 4 of these people that were teamed up and say that they're real estate professionals or whatnot. You know, I did grasp a lot of education though. I found out what gap lending meant. I found out what how to comp a property for fix and flip. I found out how to look for properties to fix and flip. I found out how to qualify them and underwrite them. You know, I did find out a few things from this program, mainly for me just taking action and just kind of just listening. I was just listening. Just, you know how I don't know if you ever joined a mentorship, but it's within 6 months rather, and they just push all this knowledge on you, and you're like, holy shit, it's just hitting you. You're like, how the fuck am I going to retain all this? So when that happened, and we're on vacation, so we joined a mentorship in October. We're going on vacation to Mexico, and we're gonna be there for about a week. I think it was like a week we were there in Mexico. But when that happened and we were just learning all these things, I literally gave this thing about 30 days. And I was very skeptical before I put my money into this thing. I trusted these fools. They said, yeah, go back to the back of the room, put your credit card information in, and then we'll get you started. This is gonna be the best investment of your life. All you have to do is just take action, and you just have to make it work. You have what it takes. You know how they get you all hype and get you motivated to spend some money, and you're like, yeah, I got what it takes. That's what it was like for me. So yeah, I got what it takes. Fuck yeah, I ain't gonna give up on myself. So at that time, my credit was good. I mean, it still is good, but at that time I was just like, fuck, I got a good credit. I'm paying off all my debts right now. You know, the Airbnb just took a shit. Couldn't get it a property. It took a shit too. What should I do? Well, fuck it. I'm just gonna apply for these credit cards. So I applied for the credit cards, got about $35,000. No, actually, I got more than that, I think. No, it was about $35,000. $35,000 in credit cards, personal credit cards, to use towards this program. And I was like, oh, I even got a little bit of extra that I could just blow. So that's what I did, was I put it into this program, and I bought some things probably that I shouldn't have. I'm gonna be real, I can't think of them right now, but I know I probably bought some that I shouldn't have. And when I put it into that program and I was taking action, like real action, you know, some of the stuff was just scary action, you know, like not thinking of what the fuck I'm doing and still doing it. And being able to do it, if you do this with your partner too, whole different level of mindset that you both have to be on. And I thought this was fucking easy, that we'd be able to just do it. I mean, we're doing it every day. Straight up, we're doing it every day. But it's easier said than done. So anyways, I found out that a month into it, I didn't want to do this anymore. And October turned into November, and November turned into December. I gave him 2 months. That's what it was. I gave him 2 months since I started it at the end of October. And I got denied for the house in October, early in October. So I called the dude and I told him like, hey man, this is not this is not like tight. This is not the type of service that I thought it would be. Like I thought you guys would be giving more value than this. And you know, the coaching that's supposed to be there isn't there. Because the coach said that he would be available, you know, if we ever needed some help. But this guy, I found some refuge. This guy was not available at all. So after finding out that whole thing was happening, let's see what this good lighting is. I think that's better lighting. After finding out the whole thing just wasn't happening the way that I thought it would, I called him. I was like, hey bro, I want a refund and at least a partial refund for the amount that you said. Oh, that's what it was. Oh my God. Okay. So a part of this deal, I'm thinking out loud here. This is all coming back to me. Okay. Y'all got to be patient with me. Y'all got to be patient with me as I go through my thoughts. So I got back. The guy, this lady that is a part of this program, it's funny. We asked like, hey, what's your buy box? We want to do deals with you. And she said, what is a buy box? What is a buy box? Man, when I heard that, I knew I was like, all right, they're playing games for sure. Anyways, fast forward. They told me that a part of this program before I signed up that there would be a free or a trip, an inclusive trip once we pay for their VIP program, which we did, the $27,000. We both signed up for that. They said that there would be a time where we can fly out to Las Vegas, I believe it was, and then they'd go over fix and flips with us. They would walk properties and show us what to do for the fix and flips. And they pushed it back another year. And I said, yo, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up for it now. Like, I want that now. Like, the results that I'm looking for and the reason I signed up for your guidance is because I want guidance now. I don't want to be pushing it off till next week or next week. Like, I'm a fucking action taker and I'm doing this shit right now. You know what I'm saying? So when I heard that news, I was like, nah, give me my money back, at least for the amount that it is for that trip. Like, that's, if I'm going to pay you money and you promise that you'll fulfill at such and such date, then I expect that. And then I believe I was being fair. I was telling them like, hey, I want my money back for the amount that you promised, but you're not able to fulfill that. You're kicking the can down the road. No, let's back up here. Let's actually be about what we're saying. And I really, 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 really harp on that. Is if you cannot speak something and be about it, you are not in my circle. You are not around me. You're not in my thoughts. You're not. And I hold myself to the highest degree to be that person in living flesh and being, to say that. All right. And I know that there's sometimes where you come up short, and I was flexible. That's why I was like, hey, give me partial refund. It's whatever. And then when this dude comes up and then he says something about like he's not going to be available, you know, he's not able to send us any of the documents that he has. You know, there was just some issues that I was like, this is not professional. I really am going to leave my honest feedback. So I did, because I believe other people should be aware of someone that's not doing business correctly. That's what reviews are for. I don't give a fuck if it's going to hurt your business. I am not the type of person that's going to seek ill will towards you or anything like that. But if, in all honesty, if we're going in it and I'm a consumer and you're a producer and you cannot fulfill and hold your promise and also be unprofessional about that, I believe it's my right to share that with other people. It's called freedom of speech, motherfuckers. All right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna share that with them. I'm not gonna throw any like unnecessary things. I'll be straight up and professional when I leave that review, and I was. And the guy that called me, he felt that, and he gave me a call. He said, "You know what? Like, what can we do to make it right?" And I said, "My man, This is what I'm talking about, because if customers come at me and they're saying, hey, Maj, this is what you said would happen. You said this would happen, it didn't happen. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna do what I can to make it right. And as long as you can make it right as a human, on a human level, it doesn't have to be on a business level, but a human level, human to human connection, then I respect that. We'll work through with it. But when that happened, I told him, I was like, hey, bro, if you can give me a refund of my money, I'll remove the review. Heck, I'll remove all the reviews as long as you can give me my money back. But during that time, when I was in that time where I got my money back, I signed up for another mentorship, and this was in December. December about 11th, I believe it was, I joined the Sub 2 mentorship, Sub 2 community now called, and it's just been a change of mindset, and that investment that I put into that property, I put into my mind, and I put into my life, because I'm practicing it every day, and it has blew that other mentorship out of the water. And when I needed that guidance, I got it. I am able to connect with very high level people that are in the game of real estate and field of real estate, and I'm partnering with every single one of them. That's my hopes, that's my goals. And now it's surreal. Now I just got to make it real. So we got our first deal 2023 of April 2023 rather, and a lot of up and downs, a lot of mindset things, a lot of breaking through doubt during that time. And now I'm just at the point where it's like, all right, now we got to make something happen, because I had to move out of that place. Now I'm back at my mom's, taking care of her, and she's taking care of me. We're taking care of each other, and I'm handling shit down there. And now I'm thinking about moving to another location, which is I'm not too sure yet, really somewhere warmer than Colorado. I'm not really fond of these winters here, and it's just raining all the damn time here. Wherever I go, that's gonna be home. I'm thinking about Puerto Rico or Atlanta or Arizona. Really keeping it that open. Shoot, maybe even Florida. Everybody's moving to Florida now. So that brings me to my next point of where I am currently and how I'm looking to measure success. It was such a long-winded intro, I know, but how do I measure success? The KPIs of life, and that's going to be, I'm coming up with this on the spot. How many lives I change to the point where someone can be public and voice it to somebody else and share that. Whether they share it through reviews online, they share it with their friends that they meet, their families that they meet, and say, hey, you know what, this person helped me with such and such. Maj really helped me out with getting my spot clean. Maj really helped me out with closing this deal. Maj really helped me out with closing this deal that I closed on for a business. Those type of things. Maj really helped me out with feeding thousands and thousands of families, thousands and thousands of kids. Maj really helped me out with putting a roof over the family of 500,000 people, in not just the United States, but in the world in a year. That is the goal. Those are the KPIs that I aspire to do. The number of countries that I've traveled, the number of languages that I've learned, the number of quality conversations that I have with people, to the point where they reach out to me and they say, hey, Maj, because of you, this happened. Without you, this wouldn't have happened. If I can get to at least, I want to say 100 people this year, I want them to say, hey, Maj, because of you, this is the reason why I do what I do. And you're the reason why I stuck with what I did. Hey, because of you, you motivated me. You inspired me to do this. And I don't really want no public praise for it. I would just more so want someone to tell me that one-on-one and say like, hey, can we talk for a second? Or just shoot me a DM, or just shoot me a text message, or give me a call and say, you know what, Maj, I remember back when I didn't want to lift a finger and be active and go out and go for a run. Every time that I watch your videos, every time I see your posts, you motivate me. You move something inside me that says, hey, keep doing this shit. If he's doing it, why aren't you doing it? That's what I do it for. It's so much more bigger than myself. And it's gotten to the point with fitness that I've started to do things outside of myself that transfer into other people. And I just want to share it with everybody. I want to share that with everybody on a bigger scale. And I believe real estate, I believe business is what's going to amplify that vision. And, far too long have I just been thinking about things that have been only holding me back. Far too long have I been just comparing myself and thinking that the vision that I want to be and where I want to be in life is outside of me instead of in me. And I've been comparing from here going forward instead of there, and thinking of where I want to be is already happening and in the now, and looking backwards. I don't know if that makes sense, but ultimately what I'm saying is the visualization, the meditation, and the activation of taking action on these thoughts, on these feelings, on this way of being is where it's going to be. That's where I say another KPI of mine is going to be when I have those doubtful thoughts, when I have those doubtful thoughts, will I, and when I do, will I overcome it? How long did it take for me to overcome that thought? And then do the opposite. Do the opposite. This shit is not gonna stop, so I'm just gonna run to the truck. But do the opposite. I'm gonna end this live right now. I hope that's something that y'all can grasp and take with you amongst your journey. Every day it's a blessing, to say the least. I'm so blessed to be alive. It's easy to just complain about bullshit once you're just caught up with a lot of things. And I've been that guy. That's the reason why I say that. All right, y'all, I'm about to get it. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. It would really help me out. The goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of this year. I'm going to continue